Hi guys, welcome back to the Baseline. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to be talking about the great pivot for the United States and how America can transform from not just being a financial empire, but to being a global ally. Now, what if I told you that the fall of an empire could also be the rise of something much greater? That America isn't doomed, but it's destined to evolve. Because behind all the sanctions and debts and the dollar dominance, I think there's still a spark here, a chance, like a chance to reset. So welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the Baseline. This is where we're going to decode the global chessboard and map a route to personal and national power, because I think it's still here, and I think we don't have any other choice but to be optimistic. And I don't want this to be a rant about the West collapsing, because I don't think it is. Or we can make the decision for it not to be, right? We can have a blueprint. This can be a blueprint for the America's rebirth, all this stuff that we're going through. Because what if the pain, what we're seeing, is not the end, but maybe they're growing pains, birth pains of a better, more just, more equitable United States? So let's take a moment. Let's explore, okay? So today we're going to explore where America might have gone wrong, the hidden wisdom in today's economic chaos, and maybe 5 bold steps that can turn this ship around. Because it's got to turn around. We're all in this together, right? So the wake-up call, let's be real. The old system that we've been working under, it's not working anymore. I mean, we're talking about massive debt, inflation, global distrust is at an all-time high. And this economy right now, it's run by hedge funds and not human values, not any sense of us caring about each other or what's best for all of us, not just as human beings, but as United States citizens. So America's reputation right now, it was once a beacon of freedom. And it seems like it's being shadowed now, like with financial coercion, endless war, this corporate puppeteering. Like they own our politicians. Everything's so bought and paid for. But here's the twist that most won't tell you, that this doesn't have to be the end. It doesn't have to be a doomsday scenario. Collapse is not inevitable if we don't want it to be. And transformation is possible. It's just like how the phoenix rises from ashes, right? We can do the same thing. So do you believe that we can reinvent ourselves, or is it too late? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So what went wrong? What do you guys think went wrong? Well, to fix the future, we have to face our past. And if we can, let's break down 3 major flaws that brought us here and how they can become our greatest lessons. So one is weaponizing the dollar. We used our currency as a sword instead of a bridge. Countries feared our financial systems not because they were broken, but because they were rigged, or at least there's a big perception that they're rigged. Well, so what would be a solution to all this? I think we would have to reform the dollar's role, make it a tool of empowerment again, backed by ethics, not just oil and politics and war. And 2, I think punishing independence. Like we've done that, like from Turkey to Venezuela to Iran. We saw autonomy as a threat where I didn't think we needed to. But in a multilateral world, independence needs to be respected, not punished, especially when we disagree with other countries in terms of how they run things. Obviously, we're in a world where there's so many different cultures and religions, and we all have to work with each other with all of those barriers still in place. So again, in this multilateral world, independence, it needs to be respected, not punished just because people are different from us. Now, what in turn would be a solution to this? Well, we have to respect economic sovereignty, and we have to do that by example. Our greatness our leadership has to come by example, not by force. And we have to shift from being an empire that tries to control the world, I think, to becoming an ally and a reliable and trustworthy one, which I think in the last decade or so, I mean, we've lost a lot of that. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, we don't have to be part of a team to see that there's been a problem with this. Another aspect that I think that needs to get addressed is corporate globalism. Because let's be honest, Wall Street took the wheel. We're run by corporations. And Main Street, we all pay the price. But we still have time to shift over from that shareholder supremacy to human-centered economics. So how do we reframe this future? How do we flip this script? Instead of asking, how do we keep control? What if we asked, or let's ask, how do we earn trust? How do we build prosperity without domination? Because they're not mutually exclusive, right? And how does America become a partner and not just a puppet master? Let's talk real possibility. Let's talk about the American rebirth, a project, a vision for transformation. It's not just about left or right. We have to be part of the same team. It's got to be about moving forward. So what are 5 bold steps that America could use as transformation? Well, here it is, the hopeful roadmap for a new American century. Not a conquest, but of connection. Rebuild trust in the dollar. Peg it to real assets. Let's get away from that fiat currency and just printing money. Get over to clean energy, because we are stewards of the earth, whether we believe in climate change or not, or whether we think one way about the environment, the other, we still have to be stewards of this earth. And it's all in our common interest to move towards clean energy. We have to come back to innovation. And for the United States, man, we need our infrastructure back. I don't know if you guys have visited China or Japan or even Dubai. Man, we are visibly lacking in our infrastructure. The other thing that we got to do is we got to use our power to not just sanction, but to support growth in the world. The dollar could be the most powerful cooperative tool in human history if we use it right. So the decentralized global finance, the support alternatives to payment systems, those are all things that can help, right? We got to decentralize global finance. We need to move over to a position where we can support alternative payment systems. And I think we got to collaborate with BRICS and the global South countries to build a fairer, more multipolar economy. Because the BRICS currency and countries going over to that could be a scary proposition for us at some point in time. And along with the collaboration of BRICS in this multipolar economy, we got to let America be a part of the solution, not the gatekeeper of the problem. And we have to invest in human-centered infrastructure. Like, it is so weird that the United States, in all the great things that we have or had, that we don't have a national health care system, where every first world country does have that. And it's interesting to say, oh, let's make Canada or Greenland part of the United States. Well, they have a lot of the things that we don't have. And national health care is one of them. I think we got to get over to having more green technology, education, food security. A lot of the food that we're eating right now, it makes us sick. and less Wall Street and more wellness. Let's become the country we are somewhat pretending to be right now. The other thing we got to do is we got to respect sovereignty and embrace cooperation. No more regime changes and these proxy wars. We're killing so many people, and our own soldiers end up being part of the death count. And I think that's got to be one of the biggest things that we have to change. Like, can you, in this time now, imagine sending our sons and daughters to Iran to fight another war with a country that's much more powerful than Iraq was? And now there's this feeling that we don't really know what type of weapons Iran has or doesn't have. It's dangerous. So these regime changes, these wars, man, it just seems like in this day and age, it's something that the human race can evolve past. I think another aspect of things that we can change into is partner on trade, technology, and health, but not with such dominance that we have to be the bully. We don't have to be the bully in the world to be respected. We can just show up with integrity. The other thing we could do is lead a new global movement for economic dignity. Launch a new Bretton Woods, by this time with equal seats at the table. And make America a symbol of freedom through fairness. And I think we really lost that. So what's the vision here? Let's try to imagine this, right? A country where your economy isn't a casino, but a community where we're all helping our common humanity. And a foreign policy that's built on bridges, not bombs and killing innocent women and children and sending our own sons and daughters to die. And a vision of a currency that lifts, not loots. And a flag that means freedom for all, the whole world, not just control for some. This isn't a fantasy. It's a future that we can choose, but only if we're brave enough to make that change as a unified people. America is a great country, not because of its power, because of its promise. And I think we can make that promise again to each other and to the rest of the world. I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think it'll be easy to get credibility back, but it's a place to start. So where do we go from here? Here's the truth. I don't think the American dream was lost. I do think it's been hijacked, though. I think it's hijacked by fear, by greed, by empire. But we could take it back. We can choose to be a healer, not a hegemon. A builder, not a bully. A partner, not a puppeteer to other countries. And if we do, we don't just save ourselves. We help lead the world to a more beautiful chapter. Like and subscribe, especially if you believe in the power of this transformation. I don't think this is all doom and gloom, but I do think we are going through a hard chapter right now. But at the end, I think it's up to the people to make the change. I think if we leave it just to the politicians and the people who bought them, I think we're seeing what's going on. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm so curious to see what you guys think. And I appreciate you guys watching the baseline. We'll catch you on the next episode. Cheers, everybody.